Wellness Rhythm Show. Find your rhythm. Live your wellness.
Y'all, let me tell you about the moment I realized I had no idea what my doctor was actually testing for. I got my blood work back last spring, cholesterol looked fine, and I was like, great, I'm healthy, done. But then a friend mentioned something called homocysteine, and I had genuinely never heard of it.
Right, and here's the thing. That's almost everyone's experience. Homocysteine doesn't get the airtime it deserves. Yet some researchers argue it's a stronger predictor of cardiovascular events and cognitive decline than LDL cholesterol. That's a fairly significant oversight in routine care.
So today we're going deep on this one. What is homocysteine? Why does it matter? And what can you actually do about it without needing a medical degree or a total life overhaul?
And we'll be clear throughout, we're talking wellness and prevention here, not diagnosis or treatment. Think of this as knowing your dashboard before the warning light comes on.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Homocysteine sounds like something you'd find on a chemistry exam. What actually is it?
So it's an amino acid. But here's the key detail. Your body doesn't get it from food directly. It's produced internally when you metabolize methionine, which is an amino acid you do get from protein-rich foods like meat, eggs, and dairy.
So your body makes it as a kind of byproduct?
Exactly. And under normal circumstances, your body converts it into something harmless. But if that conversion process breaks down, homocysteine accumulates in the blood, and that's where the trouble starts.
And what does trouble actually look like? Because I want people to understand why this matters and not just gloss over it.
Right. Elevated homocysteine, which researchers typically define as above 15 micromoles per liter, is associated with endothelial damage. That's injury to the lining of your blood vessels. And when that lining is damaged, you get inflammation, arterial stiffness, and eventually a much higher risk of heart attack and stroke.
Okay, and I know we're going to get to the brain stuff too, because that is what really got my attention.
We absolutely will. But let's stay with the cardiovascular piece for a moment, because the research here is genuinely striking. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that for every 5-unit increase in homocysteine levels, cardiovascular risk increased by roughly 20%.
20% per 5 units, that adds up fast.
It does. And the Framingham Heart Study, which is one of the longest-running cardiovascular research projects in history, identified elevated homocysteine as an independent risk factor, meaning it predicts risk even when cholesterol is normal.
So this is literally the thing your cholesterol test is not catching. That was my wake-up call. My numbers looked fine on paper, but if nobody checks homocysteine, you might have a blind spot.
That's a fair framing. And if listeners want to share this episode with someone who might benefit, do hit like and subscribe wherever you're listening. It genuinely helps us reach more people.
Okay, let's talk about the brain piece now, because this is where I went down a serious rabbit hole.
Right, let's dig into this. The Alzheimer's Association and several independent research groups have flagged elevated homocysteine as a significant risk factor for cognitive decline and dementia. A landmark study from Oxford, led by Professor David Smith, found that B vitamin supplementation in people with elevated homocysteine actually slowed brain shrinkage in the areas most associated with Alzheimer's disease.
Brain shrinkage. That phrase alone is enough to make me sit up straighter.
It's confronting, isn't it? And the effect sizes were not trivial. The B vitamin group showed up to 90% less atrophy in certain regions compared to placebo. Now, to be fair, this was in a specific population with mild cognitive impairment, so we can't extrapolate wildly.
Here's the thing, though, that nuance matters. We're not saying B vitamins cure dementia. We're saying that for people with elevated homocysteine, addressing it may be meaningful for brain health.
Correct. And that's a wellness-level intervention, not a clinical one, which is exactly where we sit.
So let's talk about what actually raises homocysteine, because I suspect a lot of people listening are going to recognize some of these.
So the primary driver is deficiency in B vitamins, specifically folate, B6, and B12. These are the cofactors your body needs to convert homocysteine into safe byproducts. Without enough of them, the process stalls.
And B12 deficiency is so common, especially in people over 50, because your ability to absorb it from food actually decreases with age.
That's exactly right. The intrinsic factor in your gut, which helps absorb B12, becomes less efficient. So older adults, vegans, and people on certain medications like metformin are at elevated risk. Kidney function also plays a role, as the kidneys help clear homocysteine from the blood.
Okay, so now I'm thinking about our listeners who are in the sandwich generation, juggling everything, Maybe not eating brilliantly, maybe stressed out, because stress also matters here, right?
Brilliant point. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, which can deplete B vitamin stores. Alcohol consumption also interferes with folate metabolism. And interestingly, smoking impairs B6 function. So several very common lifestyle factors compound the issue.
This is where I want to gently push back on something, because I know some people are going to hear this and immediately want to just take a B vitamin supplement and call it done. And I get it, I am that person. But David, is it actually that simple?
And here is where I want to be precise, because this is a nuanced area. Supplementation with folate, B6, and B12 does reliably lower homocysteine levels. That part is well established. But here's the friction point. Lowering homocysteine levels hasn't always translated into proportional reductions in cardiovascular events in every clinical trial.
Wait, seriously? So you lower the number, but it doesn't always mean the outcome improves?
In some trials, yes. The HOPE-2 trial, for example, showed B vitamin supplementation reduced homocysteine but had modest cardiovascular outcomes. However, later analyses, including those by Professor Smith's group at Oxford, suggest the benefit may depend heavily on whether you start with elevated levels and whether other conditions like kidney disease are present.
So it's not useless, it's just not magic, and context matters enormously.
Precisely. And this is why I appreciate having the conversation at a wellness level. The goal is to know your number, address genuine deficiencies through diet, and if needed, supplementation, and treat it as one piece of a broader picture.
So what does that look like practically? Because I want people to leave this episode with actual things to do.
Right, here's what I've learned from the research. First, ask your doctor to include homocysteine in your next blood panel. It's a simple blood test, often not included by default. Optimal levels are generally considered below 10 micromoles per liter, with anything above 15 being a clear flag.
And from a food perspective, this is genuinely good news, because the foods that support healthy homocysteine metabolism are just good food in general.
Dark leafy greens for folate, legumes, eggs, fish, fortified cereals. If you're eating a reasonably varied diet with adequate protein and plenty of vegetables, you're supporting the right pathways.
And for people who are plant-based or over 50, this is a real conversation to have with your healthcare provider about B12, because that one specifically may need supplementation.
Agreed. And I'll add, reduce processed food, moderate alcohol, and if you smoke, that's the single highest impact change you can make. Not just for homocysteine, but across almost every wellness metric.
Which is easier said than done, I know. But the point is, these are real levers you can actually pull. Okay, so if you're only taking one thing away from today's episode, here it is. Ask for the homocysteine test at your next blood panel. Know your number, because you cannot act on information you don't have.
And eat your leafy greens. I realize that sounds almost insultingly simple given everything we've covered, but the B vitamin story really does come back to diet quality and knowing when to supplement thoughtfully.
Y'all, this one genuinely surprised me, and I've been in this wellness space for years. Sometimes the most important markers are the quiet ones nobody's talking about. That's exactly why we do this show.
Right. Homocysteine won't win any glamour awards, but it may be quietly telling you something your cholesterol panel isn't. Worth listening to. If today's episode was useful, please do subscribe and share it with someone who'd benefit. It costs you nothing, and it genuinely matters to us.
Take good care of yourselves out there. We'll see you next time on the Wellness Rhythm Show. The show is part of the VoxCrea.AI system. If you want a show like this for your organization without building it yourself,
go to VoxCrea.AI and request a sample episode.